ShayShay. Well, most people just call me Shay. My real name's Shane. ShayShay has kind of taken over as my main name, and pretty much everyone here in London calls me Shay these days. I live in northeast London in an area called Stamford Hill. I've just turned 27. I'm a drag performer, event host, event organizer. I host all sorts of things: brunches, quizzes, karaoke's, cabarets, club night, basically like queer, fun nightlife things. It's interesting the way drag has evolved. It's become so much wider and so much more known, but the definition of what it is has narrowed a lot. When people think of drag, usually they think of big hair, big body, sequins, sparkles, larger than life, caricature of a woman. Drag is obviously so much more than that. Like basically, anytime anyone gets dressed, it's drag. Sometimes it's much sparklier. The best thing about drag is it's just a reason to wear clothes that I've always wanted to wear. I just love getting to look at dress like a kind of 80s prom-y dress and be like, ooh, 80s, going to an 80s dance. Like that's me today. Like that's gonna be me tonight. I'm gonna have peppy energy and that'll be me. Something I'm able to lean into, different characters that exist in my brain. Being a Gemini, like, you know, I'm a million different people. But really it's just like a hodgepodge of different characters that somehow all form this crazy human here. I loved dressing up as a kid. That was my favorite thing, is just dressing up. And it feels so amazing to have grown up and actually realize that is actually a really important part of my life, and that dressing up and getting to perform silly little performances. My first lip sync performance was to Patsy Cline, Walking After Midnight, in my living room, you know, for like a bunch of other kids. And now to be where I'm at now and actually realize that was such an authentic version of me, and being able to do that still, it's like amazing. Help us realize so much about our actual selves through putting on performances and characters. By putting on all this out here, actually I'm able to see what penetrates deepest to who I actually am. Today I made a Korean soft tofu stew, which is called Soondubu Jjigae. And then I also made these little Japanese rice pack things that I loved eating growing up. It's kind of like a really thinned, marinated tofu pocket that you fill in with rice. The only like unique thing that you need for that is like rice wine vinegar, so that the rice has more than just a boring steamed rice taste. The Korean stew has soft silken tofu, Korean spicy pepper paste called gochujang, and then it's got an egg popped in there, garlic, and loads of kimchi. That's the main thing you gotta have. So it's like spicy and warm and wholesome, and then you can eat it with rice. Always reminds me of food back home in California. Like much harder to find here, so I've had to start making it for myself. Even though I grew up in like a very Asian area, I wasn't very Asian. Like, yes, I'm half, but my dad's side of the family moved to America around the year 1900. So they've been there for over a century. And in that time, my grandparents' generation and their parents were all put in the Japanese internment camps during World War II. After, you know, being in prison purely based on race for years, they decided, you know, maybe we're gonna, you know, embrace being American more and kind of go shy away from our Japanese side. Let's just, you know, we've made the ultimate sacrifice. Let's really dive in and assimilate. So my Asian side of the family, besides rice, didn't eat any Asian food. My dad learned how to make sushi in a class when I was a child. So I have this weird thing of like, I'm now far enough generation-wise from the trauma of going into the internment camps that I very actively am trying to learn more and become more connected to the Japanese side of my family that faded away. But then moving here to London, and there being so many less Asians that I come into contact with. Oh my God, whenever I meet an Asian, we always get really excited and like talk about our experiences and like the racism that we endure constantly. I've actually become more connected with it. I realized I can actively connect to the past that was slipping away, I can try to grasp whatever is left back and very much proudly add that as part of my identity instead of just kind of ignoring it like I would have in the past. So it's kind of this new renaissance of embracing Asianness that I'm finding really exciting. The idea of normal is made up. It's completely a lie. And a lot of them are quite recent. Societies change and societies are different around the world, and just because what is normal for a boy or normal for a girl in one place, some people agreed on it and like decided to keep rolling with it, it doesn't mean that you have to obey any of those things. The best way to be normal is to just like do what feels right and natural to you. I wish that more people would not think about the roles that they're supposed to adhere to because of their gender or their class or where they're from or their race or their sex or any of those things, and just kind of like do what feels natural. Kids do it, they do whatever the fuck they want. I wish that we would keep doing whatever we want for longer and forever.